Flosstube, welcome back. This is Flosstube number 12. I'm Sian Periwinkle Stitcher, and today is Maundy Thursday, which is the 17th of April. It's Thursday. This is Flosstube number 12, and that means that I've been filming a Flosstube for nearly a year. So I think it was the 16th of May when I checked last time, and I can't believe I've been doing this for a year, because every time I feel like a complete novice and that I'm having to learn it all over again. But welcome back. I've got a lot to share with you, although it's been a short month, but I did promise I'd come back before Easter and show you all I've been stitching and quilting. And yes, gosh, it's been a really, really busy month. It's been fantastic here. Weather-wise, I've never known April be like it. It's been really, really hot. So we've cleaned all the garden studio out and got all the furniture back out, cleaned everything, mowed the lawns, and it's looking fantastic outside. The apple blossom is out. The crab apple tree is just absolutely glorious, and it's been really hot, and we've been having lovely glasses of wine up at the end of the garden after a hard day's stitching. I have been treating it like my day job, because it was a really short month for me, and I had to get through all my goals for the month before I come back and share with you. It's been a really fun month. I've been up to London. Well, we all went up to London for Harriet and Cam's engagement party, so I'll put some pictures of that in at the end. And it was just so much fun to meet all the friends that I feel I know so well, her London friends, you know, at work, and all her Cardiff friends that over the years they were all in Cardiff High together, and have over the years moved to London and are doing these incredible jobs, you know, just from all walks of life. And they were all at the party. Some of them I've known since they were in nursery school with Harriet, and others I've heard so much about, that she's done training with, you know, the medics in London, and it was just so wonderful to meet them. And I won't probably see them again now before the actual wedding, which is planned for July next year. So they found a venue, and hopefully in June I'm going to be able to go and see the venue myself, but that's going to be in Wales. But it was so much fun, so I'll put some photos of that in at the end. And yeah, Harriet surprised us on the Friday, because the party was on the Saturday night in a pub in Stoke Newington. And on the Friday, she said, oh, come to my flat at 5 o'clock. No boys allowed. So it was just the mothers of the bride. I met Cam's mum, Donna, properly. And it was just lovely. And all the bridesmaids, I think she's having 9 bridesmaids, honestly. She's a girl, she doesn't do anything by half. So the 9 bridesmaids pretty much were all there. I think one of them couldn't come actually because Hannah was away. So there's a photo of the bridesmaids, and of course with 2 sisters and 2 stepsisters, and Cam's sisters. It's quite a big group, just with the immediate family really. So yeah, it was so much fun. And then I'm spoiled because I picked Sophie up last night from the station. She's home for Easter weekend. Harriet's coming in tonight on the train, and Topsy's been home for a week or so. So I've got all my bunnies at home for Easter. So I'm in my element, and I will be cooking Easter Sunday lunch. Well, hopefully they'll come to church with me. And yeah, it's been just such a lovely time, a lot of fun. And we went to Tetbury yesterday for a little day trip, me and Tops. Phil drove us up and we did a little bit of shopping, and it was just so lovely going around the vintage shops there. Topsy got a few things like a silk scarf and a little handbag in an old shop there. And that's what all the students love to do, isn't it? They don't want new things, they want cool kind of old things. So yeah, it's been so much fun. But let's get started, because I got a load to share with you today. So first of all, I'll show you my book of days, which I've been keeping. And I pretty much, since I got back from Galley Bay, and last time I did my Flosstube here, I pretty much stitched every day. Oh, I should have said, when, actually there was a day I didn't stitch at all. When I got back from London, we were shattered on the Sunday because we'd lost an hour, the clocks went forward as well. And it took about 3 hours just to get out of London to get onto the M4 to drive home. And we got in and the phone went, and it was Dad. And he'd had a fall again. And anyway, to cut a long story short, I took him to A&E the following morning, and the GP sent us in. So we bypassed A&E. We went straight into the acute assessment unit, and it took us 10.5 hours to eventually see a doctor. It was just so busy and everyone was so ill. And to be fair, Dad was the least ill person there. But the GP was worried that he does keep falling now and that his ECG was showing abnormal results. So yeah, it's always a game of two halves, isn't it? You know, life's really amazing for a couple of days and then there's a worry or something happens. But yeah, luckily they got to the bottom of what it was, and so he'll be on blood thinners now. But he's fine. He's back home on medication. I think he's got AF, atrial fibrillation, and also he was very low on thyroxine, and that was the reason for his legs kind of not working properly. So he'll be on thyroxine treatment now for the rest of his life as well. But the NHS were just fantastic, because although it took hours to get to the doctor, once we saw them, they couldn't have been more wonderful. They were just so professional. So he was in for 3 nights. So that was all a bit of a worry. But once they got to the bottom of it, you know, it was such a relief. So he's home and well now and will be here with us for Easter, hopefully. Right. So yeah, I didn't stitch every day. I was actually down here. This reminds me, actually, yeah, I was in A&E with Dad for a day and a couple of visits. Although there was an outbreak of norovirus in the NHS, so no visitors were allowed. So once I'd left him after 10.5 hours, I wasn't really allowed to go back. Yeah. So there we are. That was my stitching in March, at the end of March. And in April, I have pretty much stitched every day. And I've got some Holt stickers in there for a few finishes that I will show you now. So that's my book of days. Right, the first thing I finished, let me show you. I've had a few spring starts from the new things from market. So this was the thing I was dying to start. This is Stacey Nash's Velvet Pink Pear Needlebook. I just thought that looked like a quick stitch. And I've never made her velvet things. I know Christy Crosshatch Quilts has. She's made the other velvet pear that didn't have any stitching. So I'm really keen to fish that out. I only bought that recently. And I don't think I've got the right colour velvet or wool, but for this one, I didn't have the cord for. What was the cord for? Oh, that's right. It was 36 count needle and flax brayer, which I didn't have, but I did manage to get the gorgeous rhubarb velvet from Sue at Peakside, because she brought this back from market. She actually went to Nashville. So when she brought the chart back of the little hedgehog, and look, I managed to find a really, really good match. This was Needle Bling Shrekie's Tan, and I think I did it on 40 count. Did I write it down? I did. It was 40 count, so it's a little bit smaller. It's just, yeah, these can be quite big, can't they, some of Stacey's stitches? So I think it's absolutely doable and easy on 40 count. And I got some of the lovely wool down at Cowslip Studio when I was there. You just roll it into like a little cigar thing on the top and just sort of tacked it down. What else? It was really easy to make up. The instructions were brilliant. Stacey's instructions are always really quite straightforward, and it went together nicely. So it's just a cardboard cutout, and you put some batting on it with just a Pritt stick. And then, so this is just velvet, and then the front one has got a little bit of stuffing and wadding in it as well to make it a little bit puffy. And the finishing touch of the little cross on the bottom, I just thought, she does say to grunge it up. I think she says to like take a scalpel to it and cut and put some walnut crystals on. I just didn't want to do that because, don't get me wrong, I do love grungy things, but I just thought that rhubarb was perfect like it was, and I didn't want to ruin it anymore because the linen inside is sort of mottled enough. So that was my first finish, which is absolutely gorgeous. I recommend it. The stitching was just like a day. It's very confetti heavy because all the little prickles on the hedgehog's back is, you know, one stitch at a time, but it was really quick, really fun, and the instructions to make it up were brilliant, so I was dead pleased with that. So that's my, oh, and I'll be taking that down to Cowslip when I go to the retreat now at the beginning of May. I'm going to try and take that along to put in my Stitchy box with Maggie May. So that was one finish. My next spring finish, I told you this was my favourite thing from Market, Coco's Garden. And I've been stitching this with my lovely friend Moira. Do you remember Moira? She was so kind. She sent me that amazing Christmas parcel of goodies. And she lives up in Northumberland, right at the north of England, sort of bordering on up to Scotland way. And so she couldn't be further away from me down here in South Wales. But we've had a couple of chats, and we're on WhatsApp now. And we had a lovely long call the other night, and we've been stitching this together. So she really spurred me on to get started on it. And here is my finish. I don't know if you can see that from there. So I couldn't be more delighted. It's not perfect because I think the gaps of the stitching on one side is slightly lower than on the other, but I absolutely love it. Look at Coco. I used all the called for. I think it was all DMC except the bunny, which is in gingerbread. I think it was Classic Colourworks gingerbread, which I had to order from Peakside. And again, let me just pull out the, I went online and printed off the instructions by Susan Coates, who works for Keepsakes, cross stitching, you know, Pam and Steph's Keepsakes. She does a lot of the finishing for the shop, and she had finished this perfectly for Stacey. No, for Teresa Cogut. Sorry, did I say Stacey Nash? This is Teresa Cogut. And yeah, it's my first finish of anything by Teresa. And I just think it's gorgeous. The finishing instructions were really comprehensive with all the photographs in. And she wrote these up before she actually finished the basket for Teresa. So the photographs are not actually of Coco. But I put this gorgeous fabric from Amiably True that I picked up from Nikki Franklin's The Stitchery. She sells so many beautiful fabrics. If you haven't looked at her Amiably True fabrics on the website, go and have a look. They're just amazing. And I lined it with some gorgeous Laurie Holt. Can't remember which line, but one of these beautiful pink ditzy flat floral ones that I've had left over from one of my quilts. Oh, it could have been Calico Garden, actually. So, yeah, so that is Coco's Garden. And then you just use some florist wire, which is really bendy, and you wrap it. It's such a clever way, actually. You wrap it around 2 buttons, and then you sort of hide the buttons with and cover the wire with this seam ribbon, isn't it? I've told you about this ribbon before, haven't I? Stacey Nash uses it all the time. And if you scrunch it up, it just looks sort of really cool. So that's my little Easter basket. And the year is down there, really pale in 25, just sewn on the corner. Yeah, it's so pretty, such fun colours. And the berry basket's got all those pastel kind of Easter colours and the alphabets dotted around. So there we are. I couldn't be more delighted. I stitched this on, again it called for brayer, needle and flax brayer, and you can do a variety of sizes. In the back of the book it tells you. I stitched it on 36 count Picture This Plus Legacy, which I thought was a really good match for the picture here. And when I was in Tetbury, I picked up this little bunch. I have got gorgeous forget-me-nots that have come out in the garden. I'll put a photo in at the end. They're bright blue, but it seemed a shame to cut them. They would look amazing in here. So I just bought a little rosebud of dried flowers that was in one of the little shops in Tetbury. So that'll have to do. But there we are. So that was my second spring finish. And I've got some more spring finishes to share with you, some starts as we go along. Right, then I moved along, and as you know, every month I put some stitches in on Lottie. So this is my BAP, my big project, and this is by Needlework Press, Charlotte Warrington 1838. I didn't make quite as much progress this month as I would have liked. I just did solid fill-in stitcher. This is the chart that I got from Sherry, Colorado cross stitcher in the US through the Homespun Needlework group. And if you're on their group on Facebook, you'll see that quite often they do some lovely exclusive charts, you know, that you can treat yourself. Maybe I think I've only ever done 2 of those, because it does cost a bit to get them through customs, but and it came with this lovely scissor fob to hang on with all the threads. And I'm using the overdyed, not the silks, so I'm using all the weeks, which are quite bright. Absolutely love this project. So this is in my Barry Stitch Folk bag, as you know, that was made specially for this, and my Nancy 5 times blessed sampler maker. Love all these blingy bits. So this is where I am on this project. Oh gosh, it doesn't really fit on a board anymore. So last time I finished up going on across on the red house, and this time I came down here, filled in under the second door and took it all the way across, filled in all the white fence across here and put in 2 of the flying birds. So now I need to carry right over to do the other side of the house, which will be a mass of like sheep in the grass. Yeah, I love working on this. This project is massive. Let me just give you an idea of the scale. I'm about 1/3 of the way through now, because I've done so much of the solid stitching, and at the top it's a bit more open plan, you know. So yeah, she's a big girl. The linen is beautiful. It is Weeks Dye Works 40 count straw, and I absolutely love it. It's on the Zweigart base, and I think Weeks on the Zweigart base is just fabulous. So I really love stitching on that. So that's Lottie, and Olive Green, who has just had a new Flosstube, just started out on Flosstube. I really enjoyed her first episode. Vashti, she's been so kind to me, because remember, she managed to track down the Bunny Hill backing fabric for my quilt. So when I went to the attic, I bought that from her, because I think she works in a quilt shop part-time as well. And Vashti runs the BAP stitching program for Lottie on Facebook. If you're stitching along, you can join that group and see everyone's progress, and people are finished. Then my next project, which I try to do a little bit on every month, because again, she's a big girl, in my beautiful Laurie Holt bag that I bought the panels for, and you get the little labels to make as well. This is Jane Bannister, 1855. And again, I did a lot on this one. So this is by Hands Across the Sea, and it's a Welsh sampler from the Isle of Anglesey. I love this project. So I did work on this one. What have I, oh, the threads for this. Remember, this is the one Phil got me and treated me. Oh, that's a needle. Hang on, I'll throw that back in. He treated me to the Verissoir silks, which I keep in these baggies. And with a Verissoir, it's so easy to just pull from one end and keep them in the label. So that's what I do. And I've got this little thread bed, these thread beds that I make just from charm packs. I just put the wadding, the Winciette fleece, so it's like a 3-layer, and then you just sew around the square and sew down the middle, and then you can just cut it around the edge with your pinking shears and make a little couple of needle books. I have one of these in most projects. So then when I've got my needles loaded, I put them back in there. So those are the beautiful silks, so nice to work with on this gorgeous linen from Tabby Cat. So this is from Michelle at Tabby Cat, and it's one I picked up that was called Unnamed at the Great British Sampler Weekend in Swindon. So is this the right way up? Yes, because I've gone right the way across the bottom, right the way up the right side, and now this time I worked all the way across the top. So I did quite a lot. And I can't wait now to maybe start one of the big motifs here. Let me show you. These urns are solid stitching. So I'm going to be able to start now. If I can turn the corner down here, then I'm gonna be starting on these two flower baskets. Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait. So this is a lot of fun, and isn't it just stunning? I just think it's very, I know you shouldn't say it about your own work, but you know what I mean. It just brings me great joy. And what I love as well is that each of these projects is on such a different type of linen. So this is like a real grey brown, and Lottie's on a straw yellow. My next project is on a stunning linen, which is also Weeks, in my gorgeous project bag by Barry, with my 5x Blessed felt strawberry. This is a wonderful project. I don't get enough time on her because it's going to take years. So this is Eunice Tanquerel by Manny Di Donna, all DMC, on Weeks Cocoa. And I just absolutely love the chart does not do this justice. It's with just DMCs, loads of different colours, and my lovely scissor fob from my friend Sharon De Silva that I went on the cartonage box making class at the Stitchery with. Such a lovely lady, and really into cross stitching, and I've got her into much higher counts now. She's stitching on 36. I think she said she's going to try 40 next. Great stuff. So this is Eunice, and I love it, absolutely love it. And my friend Kirsty from Crafting Kirsty, who's got a Flosstube, you should go and follow her, and her friend Janet Dodd, who go to the Great British Sampler Weekend, so I'll see them in September. They're both working on this, and I waited for them because they were going to do a stitch along, so they're stitching along on this, and Kirsty's got some lovely progress on hers as well. So I started here and went up, and this time I came all the way along here. So I've done quite a lot of border stitching this month. I just think this just takes my breath away. I think the DMC pinks are stunning. And this is Weeks Cocoa, which is a lovely darkish brown that just makes the pale pink and the white pop. I think it's beautiful. But she, again, is a really big girl. So I do need to keep going on this, doing a little bit a month. Otherwise, it's the sort of whip that will just, I don't know, it will never get finished. So yes, it's like going to be like a 5-year project, but that's okay. I'd like to have a few of them, you know, that I'm working on bit by bit. And one of them got neglected this month. It was inevitable. I wasn't going to be able to put so much in on all of them. And you'll notice that I never got to the 15 Friends by Cozy Egg. And I said I wanted to do 1 thread a day. And at some point, I'm really going to try that because it's been a total fail. I haven't been able to get started on that discipline at all. I think because I do my embroidery first thing in the daylight, you know, so that's what I tend to get started on. Right, my next project in my gorgeous, this was my Barry Stitch Folk bag from the Quarterly Club. So I think there might be another bag coming actually, but this was from the last quarter. I just love this bag. Stunning. Lined with the gorgeous, I think it's Blackbird fabric. And one of my little vintage sewing machine zipper pulls. So this is my Guernsey sampler. This is Julia Rachel de la Mare, 1849, a Guernsey Channel Island sampler by Kathleen Littleton at Cross Stitch Antiques. And she signed the top for me when we were at Sampler Symposium. This is a project that I did get through the Homespun Needle Group. I think I only could get on the third release of it through my lovely friends at Country Sampler. So this is from Linda and Pam and the girls that worked there who we met at with Rika at Sampler Symposium. Yeah, this chart is a little bit tricksy because so many people haven't got the borders to match up. That's from Kathleen. And these are the fabulous threads. So this is the all of the mainly classic colourworks, but a few Weeks and Gentle Arts thrown in. Gorgeous colours, quite bright. Remember the greens, is it avocado? Yeah, I'm going with it. A few people have changed avocado, but I'm going to put it with it because I think when it is up against the pine needles, I actually quite like the way it looks. So let me show you what she looks like. I went round, I have got a stray thread and I apologise. I think it's this way up. So this is on 40 count needle and flax Hemingway, and it's a beautiful piece of fabric. And this is the bottom right. So I've put a few, this is the bottom right. I've put in a few of the avocado stitches and I think it looks fine against the pine needles. There are two darker greens. You can't really tell, but yeah, there are two darks and then the avocado is going to lie next to it. I think it just knocks it right back, so I don't have a problem with using this luminescent avocado green. I think it'll work fine. And I'm delighted to say that my border did meet because there are so many tricks in the chart. You can't get into any pattern. Sometimes you're counting 12, sometimes it's 13. So yeah, it's a very difficult chart to get started on. So I thought I'm going to have to go round and do the skeleton to make sure mine meets, and it does. So now I can start to put in some of the beautiful red berries around the edge. So I can't wait to get back to that. And look, she's quite small. So yeah, it'd be really fun to start some of these motifs in the middle. And there's a little sheep, I think, around here, which I just love sheep. So I can't wait to get back to that. So that is Rachel Guernsey sampler. Then the next one I stitched on was a new start because I went to a day retreat not long after my last Flosstube. I went on a day retreat with Loopy Lou's Retreats on Facebook. She organises them in South Wales and they're not that far from me, sort of 10 miles up the road, just outside Bridgend in Pendoilen. And the lady Sophie from Turtle Bay Fabrics was there selling project bags. So that was fun. So I did, and they had a raffle and pretty much everyone won something on the raffle. It was so nice to meet all completely new ladies, never met any of them before, didn't know a soul. So I was quite brave. And I won a project bag, so I'll show you. But when I couldn't believe it, I got all the way there and realised that I'd forgotten my needles. So I did take, I wanted to work on one of my Stacey Nash projects and I couldn't because I forgot needles and nobody there had a size 28 needle. So at 26, I couldn't get through the linen. So I gave up and luckily had this Shepherd's Bush kit in my bag as well, which I hadn't even opened, but I managed to find a needle that would fit this because it was on 32 count platinum linen. And so I started my garden needle case, which I bought from Sue at Peakside from market this year. I bought 2 little shepherd's bush kits, and it came with all the beads and the buttons, the rickrack, the little felt. It's got a little green flower here. And so I started this, and I actually really enjoyed it. So I worked on this last night. So the photograph I put in at the end on my progress isn't as much as this, because last night I did the beehive and a little bit of these flowers here. And this is in my Barry Stitch Folk bag. And I keep my Stitchery herbarium cross stitch in here because it's small, perfect size for these little projects. So this is where I got to. And it's so sweet because it's got little tiny words backstitched. So there's bloom up there above the house. There's grow up here. Plant. And something, oh, there's love backstitched on up here. There you can see the love, tiny stitches. And then somewhere it says nurture. There. And when you just glance, you can't see it at first sight, but when you go in close, and I know it says nurture, bloom, grow, plant, love. Isn't that fab? And it's going to be the cutest little needlebook with little buttons across the bottom and some more words across the bottom. What does it say? Sow a garden, stitch by stitch. I love shepherd's bush so much. Life goals, one day, I'd love to go there. I would love to go there. Yeah, really pleased with that. So maybe next month I can go for a finish, but it's nice to have some little things like that on the go for, and I say it saved me, or I'd been stuck in a retreat for a day with nothing to do. So that was that. And Lucy Bingham, Loopy Lou's Welsh Retreats, is on Facebook if you want to join the group. And there was a lovely, lovely lady and a friend from Bristol, one from Bristol and one from Bath, and they joined up. I think they'd met before, so it was lovely to meet them. Right, my next project I stitched on was in my gorgeous Christie Crosshatch Quilts bag that I had new last month. Managed to be able to buy one of these with my gorgeous scissor fob that somebody gave me at the Sampler Symposium. And I must look up who gave it to me because I did write everything down. And my little thread bed to match. Laurie Holt cookbook with the little cherries. And this project is my Rose Hill Farm sampler and pin keeps, and I'd love to make the pin keeps because I've never done anything shaped like that. I think it looks really cute. And these are the classic Stacey threads. I was thinking actually that what I should do is just leave all the Stacey colours on a ring permanently in its own bag, because Lancaster Red, Sanguine, Straw, Baked Apple, Arrowhead, you know, they're all, she uses them over and over on so many projects. The Sanguine, you just go through so many of the skeins of that. So I thought, yeah, I might just permanently not dekit it and just leave it in there. I didn't make that much progress, but I did manage a little bit more on this, in that I filled in all of the barn with the red. So last time I had some of the outline of the barn done in the straw, and now I've put in the Lancaster Red, and this is on 40 count Fox and Rabbit Duxbury because I couldn't get the broom grass. I think Sue had it at Peakside, but it sold out before I could get on there. And I've had this for a long time, the Duxbury, and I just thought for a barn, I could get away with using a grungy fabric like that. So I think it's going to look really pretty once all the flowers are in around the edge. Yeah, it's quite hectic linen, isn't it? But I think it works for this stitch. So let's see how that looks. Then another stitch I had was my 25th of the month Christmas stitch, which I'm doing with my lovely friend Linda, who I met at Autumn of Abundance Retreat at the Attic, and she is HMB Fog on Instagram, HMB Fog Stitching, and Linda's done all the border around the edge. She didn't send me a photograph this time, but maybe next time. Linda, send me a picture. And I've got my lovely thread bed in the Acufactum fabric and the project bag in Acufactum, beautifully made. And the one we're doing is the Bells on Christmas Day by Blackbird Designs. Is this one, which is this one on the back. So this time I finished off the house, and it's such a cute piece. It's really, really going to be quite small and easy to frame. So I've done the words Peace on Earth. I finished the house, put the roof on, and took the border up the side here. So I can start some of the alphabet now. Such a lovely fun stitch in gorgeous blackbird colours. And this is on 40 count. Picture this plus oaken. So we're going to keep going with this. Are we going to finish it this year? I'm not sure. Because yeah, I didn't get that much done this time. Well, I did, but it doesn't look much, does it? So I need to maybe do more than one day on that to get it done this year. But it'd be nice to keep a Christmas stitch on the 25th of every month. Then I had another new spring start in the project bag that I won in the raffle at Loopy Lou's retreat. Isn't it cute? So this is made by Sophie at Turtle Bay Fabrics, and she's actually got a shop in Bridgend. I think she's online, so please go and have a look at her things. And this is my next new start from Market, which was Lily the frog animal cracker. And she's holding the little drum, which I think is stitch 1/1. I'm not sure I'll be doing that, we'll see. So I've got the linen for the back, and the linen I chose to do her on, let's use my little board for this. So that's as far as I've got. So this is all red pear, her skirt. I've done a bikini top, and now her skirt, it comes down quite a way actually, so it's just solid stitching, so much stitching. Yeah, and I'm doing it on, I couldn't get the called for. The called for was Needle Bling Red Dirt Road, 36 count. I've never seen that, so I don't know if that's even available in the UK. So I went through my stash for something that looked very similar in tone to Lily on the picture, and I ended up choosing Seraphim Antique Lace, and I had enough to fit her on front and back. So yeah, there she is, all the all the classic Stacey colours again, which I'm probably duplicating, aren't I, with Rose Hill Farm. So maybe I'll just put them all on one ring, and gorgeous Stacey colours. Sanguine, Lancaster Red, Lily Pad, and Red Pear. So that is Lily. So there's quite a lot of stitch in there. And the other animal cracker I'd really love to do is Goose, because I just want to do his hat. Yeah, so clever. And of course, when we see Stacey in May at the Cowslip retreat, everyone's going to want to take down all their animal crackers and their drums, you know, her gorgeous seasonal drums. Yeah, such clever work down there when everyone takes a So Sally Humble Bumble Stitcher has 1/1 on 46 count mini Maggie Mays, and probably others now. Then I had one other new start from Market that I really wanted to take part in because I had the linen. I bought a piece of this linen, and I'm sorry I haven't ironed this because I only stitched this the night before last. And this was kindly gifted to me, this chart, by my lovely friend Rika. And it's a daily reminder. And I love watching Tara O'Sullivan, Sully Stitches, Flosstube. And she started this as a stitch along for her birthday at the beginning of April. I think it was the 6th. And the minute this chart arrived from Rika in the post, bless her, wait till I show you my happy mail from her. I just couldn't wait to start it because I had this linen from Cedar River Linen, my lovely friend Jodie, Trixie Tricycle, who I followed from her very first Flosstube. I've always loved seeing what Jodie's stitching on. And this is her gorgeous linen called Arboreal, is it? Arboreal, I think. And this is 40 count, so I can't tell you how much I struggled to sew it. It takes practice for your eyes to get used to the darker fabric. It's a bit like the Christmas stockings by Annie Bees, which I was doing on Magical Grey. But that was 36 count. So this was, although it's lighter than the grey and black, it's on 40 count quite hard to stitch. So I managed to get, I had to frog the roof twice, but at last I've got it all lined up perfectly so I can get in the lovely house here. So I've ordered some threads from Sue for that. So I've got everything ready to go now. And this is in the project bag that I bought at Loopy Lou's retreat from Sophie. Pour Me a Glass of Sass. Just thought that was such a lovely fabric. So fun. And she lines it, she puts lace in it, and a little sort of zipper pull bling of a little donut on the side. So I couldn't resist that. So that's sitting in my cup of sass project bag, and yeah, I can't wait to get back to that. So I have had a lot of spring market starts, but yeah, I'm not feeling overwhelmed with it. It's all good, all good. Then the next project I stitched on, I have done a lot of stitching, was my Whipgo piece, which always lives in my gorgeous Barry Stitch Folk bag. Oh, Mildred, of course you're charming. Isn't it fun? Her bags are just so beautifully made. All lined with blackbirds. Just stunning. Love it. So this project, I've got 2 blackbirds in here. I've got Humming of the Bees, and I've got Gifts of the Season, which we had when Alma came to Autumn of Abundance, was just amazing. And this is the kit that she gave us, and she signed mine and gave me a lovely little note. And she signed my book of days. I just love this stitch so much. The colours, Gifts of the Season, and Holly Jones has finished this in her gorgeous colour and cotton conversion. But the colours on here are stunning. And actually I noticed that her flowers here are almost identical in the colour and cotton to what Blackbird call for the pinks, because look how beautiful. Now last time I'd done this with the 2 baby birds, this time I've gone in, I've done the big bird at the top with a berry, and I filled in all the house. So I've done a lot of stitching on this. It's just stunning. And I'm really keen to try to keep this out. I don't know. I've got so many projects now that I'm trying to do touch them monthly, but sometimes with Whipgo, you just can't. You've got to put them back and get on with the next one. So that was one of my Whipgo pieces. This is on 36 count Picture This Plus vellum, which I love. Gorgeous, gorgeous fabric. I've stitched on it many times over the years. I've done my word plays on this. and I just love vellum. It's pale and it's not green. It's got a hint of tan in the mottling, but not green. And sometimes I don't want green all the time. I don't mind it now and again, but I don't know, some of those Fibre on a Whims of mine have all got green in. I don't think they're supposed to, but let's see. Then my next Whipgo piece in my gorgeous Teresa Koga fabric with a little bag I made myself was, I showed you this last time, didn't I? This beautiful stitch. Again, Tara's finished this, and I saw the fabulous finish. She took it framed to the retreat that she went on with Carol Saltbox and Rika. They just went to a retreat all together, and Tara, I'm assuming it was Tara's finish. Somebody took their framed finish of Let Love Rain by Teresa Koga. Where's the big picture of it? Am I missing it? There is a picture somewhere. I can't find it. There it is. So that's what it looks like. It is a huge piece, but the colours, the blues and browns, I just love it so much. So I've done all of this here, and I'd started this. I think I finished the flower, and then I did these two motifs, the moth and the berry bowl, which I always love doing berry bowls. So let me show you. This is all DMC, apart from 1 week's green, which goes around the edge. And oh, it's so beautiful. But I'm stitching this on 40 count Zweigart flax, which, you know, I told you last time I hated stitching on it. I didn't get the called for, which was XG Designs Grandpa's Sleeve or Grandma's Slip. I always get them muddled up. One of those. I just went ahead and copied the picture and used what I thought was a dead ringer for the chart, which is flax. And it wasn't as bad as I remember it being. So this time, I mean, it's still tight, but I didn't feel like I was pulling a hole in my finger. So I did the moth and I did the berry basket here and on this side. So quite a lot of stitching. I mean, it doesn't look a lot, but I promise it was. And yeah, it was fun to go in and do start that on that next row. So again, I'd love to keep this out. Otherwise, it's going to be a 20-year project, isn't it? Because I started this the minute it was released. It's got to be 2 or 3 years ago, and that's all I've done. So it does need a lot of work, but look at the colours on the people and the animals. There's a cockerel sitting on the cat's back. Such a beautiful stitch. Love the colours. I love blues and browns. It's just a bit different, isn't it? So yeah, I was pleased with my progress on that. As you can see, I've honestly been stitching like it was my day job. Carol said that, didn't she? And yeah, hopefully now I've got a whole month. I've got 4 whole weeks before I come back to you on the 16th of May for my 1-year anniversary. And my Whipgo pieces for next month, and I apologise, I didn't iron these because I nearly forgot to pull them out to tell you what's been called for Whipgo for April. I haven't even started these. So this one is in a project bag I made myself in Brenda Riddle Dover fabric. No, not Dover. It's the summer one that I just bought some odd fat quarters. So I don't know what the fabric line was called. It was a girl's name, I think, like Grace. And my lovely thread bed I made. So this is, and I've been kind of missing Plum Street. So I'm really chuffed that both my calls for this month were Plum Street. This is Live on Little, which I haven't touched since Whipgo last year, but I have definitely shared with you at some point along the way. And there's a lot of those gorgeous blue DMC threads in this. So this was my progress so far, and I will be pulling this out now. I think I've gone all the way along the bottom. So I put in all the little animals and the mermaids with a looking glass, doing a lipstick. and all the little crabs and fish. Oh, it's just such a fun stitch. This is on 36 count fox and rabbit hog bristle, which is very yellow and with grey mottles. I absolutely love the fabric. If I was doing it again, I would do it on 40 count because it's going to be so big to frame. But actually the stitching is a lot of fun on 36 because it is solid. It's solid. So I've done a lot of the sort of solid stitching, and now I think there's a big floral border and some flowers and things. But there is a wall of sea up here as well. So we'll see how we go. I think there's a church in it somewhere, isn't there? Yes, there is. There is. There's a little church here. So I've got all this sea to fill in. Oh, man. Yeah, maybe that's what I need to do next. Fill in the sea around the boat. It's a lot of work to go, isn't it? This is another 10-year project. Live on little. How great the blessing and vast the art to live on little with a thankful heart. Just love it. The minute this came out, I had to have it. I love the sentiment, and I just think it's just such a fun stitch. It's going to look amazing. But it is a big girl, and yeah, lots of fill-in. But that's okay. Sometimes it's so nice when the weather's good to have 36 count fill-in, like Lily. That's why I started things like that, so I could go out the garden and sit in the sun with some stitching, because of course your big girls, Lottie, Jane, Eunice, I can't take those out the garden. It's just too bright, and you've got all the constant colour changes, so I need to be sitting here for that at my desk. And then my second Whipgo for the month that I'll be working on in my gorgeous autumn bag, again from my Holt panel. And I've lined this again with my Songbird wide back, and beautiful fabrics. So, oh, and this, I've got my, I keep saying scissor fob, you know, my pumpkin from Holt, my charm. And this was something that Jodie Trixie Tricycle sent me, with her little cardlet from when she used to do her Flosstube. And Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery did the theme tune for her. And you can put your threads, which designer and which charts are in your bag. I didn't want to write on them because they're too precious to me. But isn't that so cute with the little bicycle on this felt? So lovely. So I do treasure that. And this is the chart that was called for my second one, which is Real Comfort. And that's great because I had this in 2023 and I haven't really done much on it since. So this was the one that Paulette brought to with Alma to Autumn of Abundance at the attic. We were given the linen, we were given the threads, and I think we got the scissor fob as well with the project on. So that's as far as I've got on that. I'm sorry it's not ironed. I'll iron it for next time. I don't like to iron them too much, but I will if I've sort of started, if I finished working on it. So again, I need to bring the house. I've only done 3 windows down, and I've got to bring this. There are 4 windows coming down, and then these huge houses on the side. I haven't even started. So I've done a bit of the solid stitching, and this is on 36 count. Fox and Rabbit Saltbush, which is a gorgeous linen. This is a brownie grey version. I've got one which is even more grey than this. I love Saltbush. It's fabulous, quite dark and grungy. And really perfect for this stitch because some of the flowers are bright yellow. So it's gonna cheer it up, but it very much is an autumn stitch. Gosh, it's loads of stitching to go on that. Another 10-year project. So that's that. So that is my Whipgo plan. I love Whipgo so much because, to be honest, without Whipgo, you know, I'm just not going to get through these projects. But Whipgo, you get so much done. Then a couple of plans I thought I'd share with you. Another market start that I've done 2 of these out of the 4. I didn't do winter swan, I ran out of time, or Christmas swan, and I'd love to start the spring swan. It reminds me of a couple of others that Brenda's brought out for Easter and spring, and I just love the swan. And I've got the little China swan, so I'm really keen to do this, and I've got all the colours and the vintage country mocha to start it. So, and the gorgeous lettuce leaf. So yeah, I'm excited. I've got the threads lined up. Look at the colours. The yellows. Actually, they were very similar, I thought, the 2 yellows. Yeah, what have I got? Right, Butternut Squash by Gentle Art and Finley Gold by Classic Colourworks. Mine are almost identical. But yeah, we'll go with it. There is a difference, actually. In that light, I can sort of see a difference. But I love those pastel colours. I'm really drawn to that. So that's definitely something I would like to carry on with for my spring stitching. The wonderful thing about spring in the UK is it, you know, it does, now it's sort of arrived, I'm really still in my spring stitching mood because we do have a long spring season. It'll be ages before summer arrives, so I'm not feeling summery. And then a couple of other things in a project bag. I've made quite a few of these with this French tulle fabric, toile de joie is it? Fabric that I've made all slightly different. Right, I've got quite a few things in here. I've labelled them all up. Here there are 3 different plum streets because I don't know if you've noticed, but I've done Stacey Nash, I've done With Thy Needle and Thread, but Anna Teresa, but I haven't started any Plum Street market stitches. And I told you I was really desperate to start this tiny little one. It'll be Tomato Hill. I've cut the fabric. It's only going to be, it's only 57 by 68 stitches, and I think it came out as 2 3/4. It doesn't say actually on the chart. I must have used, you know, the cross stitch calculator tool if you put in the stitches and your fabric count. This is 40 count Fibre on a Whim Cafe au lait, and I said I wasn't going to use it because it was too dark, but compared to the chart, which looks cream. But actually, Jessica Sweetwater Stitcher did say you need to have a dark fabric for the white house to properly pop. So I'll stick with it. I'll go with it. It definitely looks a bit hot chocolate, doesn't it? More than cafe au lait, but that's fine. We'll go with that. And I've got all the threads for this one somewhere. Here. There's a lot of threads in it. And I made the little scissor fobs for all these in the week. So that's for my Tomato Hill one. Gorgeous colours. Look at the reds. There are 3 tomatoes, and that's without the DMC 3777. 3 different rusty reds here. We've got Just Rust by Classic Colourworks, Clockwork and Chrysanthemum by Weeks, which reminds me of the autumn stitch that I did for Whipgo. All those colours were in that one. Toil O'er the Ground, Grey Stuff Abound. Those 3 identical colours were in there for an autumn stitch. So yeah, it's going to look great for the tomatoes on Tomato Hill. So I'm dying to start that, and it's tiny. So let's see. Hopefully I'll be able to get to that one this month while I'm feeling springy. The next one that I really wanted to start on, and again, I'm sorry, I've stitched around the edge, but I haven't pressed it flat. This is 36 count, Fibre on a Whim Affogato. Mine's green. I mean, I've never had an affogato with a green topping on it, but it's got a little bit, actually it's not looking too green. In person, it's quite green. And this was to start Plum Street Penny Spring, which I've wanted to stitch for years because of the glorious colours. I just am drawn to these pastel pinks right now. And this is what the threads look like for Penny Spring. So all these gorgeous, the bright mossy green, of course, for there's a row above the pennies around the edge. Rose petal, Tennessee red clay. Just gorgeous, gorgeous colours. And of course the DMC number 20, which is that beautiful sort of peachy pink. So that's all kitted up, ready to go. And I would love to get a start, because if I start something, then you know I'm pretty likely to at some point finish it, right? And then the third Plum Street, which I think I showed you last time I kitted up. Again, I wasn't hugely enamoured with my Fibre on a Whim green linen, because this is another coffee. It calls for 36 count affogato. I had 40 count affogato, which is darker than the one that was affogato that I just showed you in 36. But I thought I'll use 40 for this because it's quite a bit of a bigger piece. And that was Rejoice. And I just thought that was a lot of fun. I loved that when it came out now at market this year. I'd love to finish this and get it framed. And again, I've got all the threads for it. I think I've got all the threads. Some of them overlap with Tomato Hill. So I made the scissor fob. And yeah, this has got Campfire and Cherry Cobbler, so brighter reds, but quite a few of the tomato oranges are pulled in as well. Yeah, so I'm very excited to get started on those Plum Streets at some point, at least one. I'll start Tomato Hill because it's small, and that means hopefully I'll have a finish. I need to write down all these things I'm telling you I'm planning to do. And then I've got my little basket here with some other charts that I thought would be really fun to stitch for spring. This one I've always loved, and I've seen quite a few people. Now I've seen Sandy, my friend, Whispered Stitches on Instagram, finish this, and she did it on like a lilac-y blue colour, I think it was. A grey blue, lilac blue, and it looked, I mean, it's pretty here, but it looked amazing on that pastel colour. And also Nicole Spore, who I love her cross-stitch programme. She does a lot of other crafts as well, like paper crafting and foam and paper things, but I'm not very good at that, but I love her cross-stitch pieces that she chooses. And she did this, I can't remember the colour now. I think it was lilac. And it made me have a look for some fabric. I haven't opened the packet, I apologise. But there's a fabulous lilac here and a minty green one. And these are little samples that Tabby Cat had at the retreat, the Great British Sampler Weekend. So I picked up those, and they're just small cuts of 40 count to do exactly that sort of a project on. And it also made me find this old piece of linen. I thought it would look lovely on this one. It's like a purpley blue. It's called Earth and Sky by Mountain Air Linens, which I've always loved their colours. I've got quite a few of them over the years, mainly for Halloween stitching. But I thought that would look quite pretty because the bunny in the basket would pop even more on there. So I've got some choices for that one. I'll stick those up in there. And then another one that, again, you could do on a different linen. I forgot to tell you what it called for, actually. It called for Winter Brew. So that one was actually done on Winter Brew. R&R Winter Brew 36 count. I think I would do it on 40 and have a little small for my tier tray. Another one I've always loved. I don't know why I haven't started this. I'm pretty sure Christy and Laurie Holt have stitched this, and it's called Hoppy Easter on Vintage Country Mocha. Again, I've got all that kitted up, ready to go, but you could change the fabric out and the basket would pop even more. And then a couple of other old Brenda ones that I've never started, but I would love to. Welcome Spring with the sheep. Just love that so much. Hen and Chicks. Just really cute. And what's this on? This is on Dirty Linen, okay, which I don't think I can get anymore, but you could easily change that out, couldn't you, for a darker one, like Saltbush or something, so that your little white hens pop. Then Here a Peep, There a Peep. I love doing these little box finishes, and I've done a Christmas one, and they're one of my most precious things at Christmas. I love bringing those out, so I quite like to do that on, what do they call those boxes? I can't remember what you call them now. They're cardboard, aren't they? Anyway, you could make this up. And again, this is on Espresso Linen by R&R 40 count. So it's really cute. Here's another one. Papier-mâché, the papier-mâché boxes. Here's another one called Spring Serenade. This is on 32 count. But again, depending on the size of the box, you could buy a smaller box, couldn't you, and do it on 40 count, which is what I did at Christmas, and it fitted beautifully. Love that. Pardon me, love that. This one is Easter Peep Parade on, everyone's been stitching on Dark Soil, haven't they, by, is it X-Dew? And it's always, I think it's out of stock at the moment, but if you ask her, you can buy it. This one was Chestnut by Weeks Dye Works, but you could, I've also got Winter Wren by Fox and Rabbit, which is a really dark brown. You could find a few different types of linen to substitute for that, or just do it on cream. So those are some other sort of old stitches I'd love to get working on. So that's my plans, that's my cross stitch. How are we doing? 107, oh dear. And I was trying to go quick. Okay, now I've got embroidery. Now remember last time, I've lost my board now. Oh, here it is. Last time I had fallen behind because I'd been to Galley Bay on holiday, and so I hadn't taken my stitching with me, and by the time it arrived I was doing my Flosstube, so I was already behind. I started the sample 2 for February, which was the rose. Stunning, with these, all these are the threads that were left. Imagine, you could just stitch this over and over. The kit is so generous. And all DMCs, you write the number on, so you know, if you ever need to know, you know, you can always find out which DMCs you were doing with these gorgeous pinks. Loved it. So I stitched this, and this is what it looked like. So long and short stitch for the rose at the top, and satin stitch for the buds and the leaves. And it was so clever. Let me see if I can show you. I think I told you about this. You go over the leaf after, at the end, to just go over the edge with a lighter colour, and it makes it look like the leaf is sort of prickly with thorns. Oh, she's so clever. This is from the Stitchery, Nikki Franklin. And the buds are in 2 colours, and you just put a little few stitches in an alternative colour at the end for a bit of contrast. But what's so clever is that the thorns on the stem are in just edged with a pink stitch. Just over the top of the thorns, you put pink in, and it just gives it that sort of like a real rose bush, which has got a slight colour pink in the brown stem. Amazing. And she gives you these lovely labels. Now, interestingly, this month I went to Bond to web my label on, and it would not stick. And I knew it wasn't because the label's very thick, which it is. It's like a sort of thick canvas almost. I knew it wasn't that because the month before stuck no problem. I discovered that Bondaweb goes out to date. The glue doesn't last forever. So I threw it away because I really struggled to get that. At one point, I thought I was going to be scorching the label. So I ended up using a pin again. These are my, I forgot to bring them. I've shown you before, the apothecary pins or something like that. They're very long with a little, they're black with a little bronze head, and they're amazing for labeling herbs or flowers for this type of a design. You can actually leave that in there forever. And because they're covered in a paint, I don't think they would rust. So I think that's beautiful. I didn't walnut crystal that, the linen cane, this beautiful colour, which I thought was grunged up enough. And as you know, Sarah, Nikki's sister, does a cross-stitch label every month to go in the book on the opposite page. And this I finished, this is on 46 count needle and flax Thornfield. And this was a William Shakespeare quote about the rose from Romeo and Juliet, about Montague and Capulet. You know, what does a name matter? A name is nothing. A rose would smell as sweet by any other name. Just cute and really lovely. And the little roses in the border. Yeah, quite hard to do that on 46 count with DMC, but that's my own fault. I just wanted it to be as small as possible so I can get away with making, you know, as small a book as possible. So I'll just pop those threads back in there because I keep these, and they come in these gorgeous packets that Nikki did all the artwork for, with some old sayings and Name Herbarium, Volume 1, Habitat, the Stitchery, England. I mean, it's just beautiful. And so that was specimen 2. And specimen 1 for January was the Snowdrop, which I shared with you before. So that was 2. And then, of course, for March, I had to crack straight on every morning. This is why I didn't do my red stitch, because my one thread a day was replaced with embroidery in the morning. And this was Thyme, specimen 3, Thymus vulgaris. And what are the threads? Gorgeous, gorgeous grey purples. So not the periwinkle purple, but a real sort of grey purple, just beautiful. Really tasteful purples. I know Kimberly at Fat Quilter Shop hates purple, but if you could win her over, this would be the purple to win her over with, because it is really tasteful. And everything Nikki does is tasteful. I don't think Nikki's a huge fan of purple, actually, from what she was saying, listening to the video of her sharing her stitching on this. But she said if you're going to do purple, these are the ones to do it with. 3743 by DMC. And this is what the Thymus looks like. Now, I did walnut crystal this, and I really grunged it up. Just to, I suppose, because I was worried the purple was going to be bright, but it's not. It's absolutely gorgeous. So this time it was all the little leaves, which took forever, were satin stitch. So very, very delicate. You have to go round with a split stitch outline and then satin stitch the tiny leaves. And then most of the little flowers are layers and layers of Lazy Daisy, just piled in. Mainly the lighter 2 purples, and then here and there a little French knot in the dark to give it some sort of movement and definition. Absolutely beautiful. I really, really enjoyed this. And then the brown stem, and we were given this lovely Hessian little fine piece of string to tie the bow, and the label was suggested to put the label to the right. Again, my bonder web for this wasn't working, so I was almost starting to fray the label. So in the end, I stuck it down with the pin as well. So it's partly bonder webbed. But there we are. So that was timeless. I've decided to cut mine down using my Holt 5.5 inch block ruler. So yeah, I hope they all fit now onto, certainly the first 3, I managed to just about get into 5.5 inch. So I hope the rest of them do. I mean, if they're bigger and I'll have to make a bigger book. But this was the cross stitch, really cute. A sprig of thyme in your pocket and you will see fairies in the woods. It's hard to read backwards because the text is all backwards on the screen that I can see. Beautiful colours, pinks and the little green trees at the bottom. Yeah, on the exactly the same. Hopefully I've got enough leftovers from my 15 Friends Cozy Egg piece of needle and flax, 46 count Thornfield, to do all 12 labels. So that's quite a, you know, it's quite a commitment every month as soon as it arrives. And I guess we're waiting for April. I don't know what April is. So that'll be fun. And as soon as it arrives, I can't wait to open and get started because I really, really enjoy working on my embroideries. And this month, the only thing I could find, I put a picture in at the end from my Language of Flowers, this gorgeous little book, was right at the top there. Time means activity. I'll put a picture in at the end. Yeah, love this little book. So sweet. And there was nothing, obviously, in my wildflowers because time, the only thing I could find on it was here that time flowers in July. There's a little picture of time there. Yeah, these books are really sweet. So that's that. And the only other thing I had to show you was the, I put a photo in at the end of the little special sayings for April in the diary of an Edwardian lady, country diary of an Edwardian lady. And so there are some fun things like the mottos for April. April weather, rain and sunshine both together. When April blows his horn, 'tis good for both hay and corn. And a little poem there. So I thought I'll put a picture of that in at the end and you can read it if you want to. But this book is just so lovely to keep out. So that's my sort of embroidery theme things. Then I'm going to show you my quilting. Okay, I spent, wow. Okay, Bunny Hill. This is my summer house. It's a kit I bought from the sewing studio and they gave me 10% off because I said I was going to be sharing it with you every month on my Flosstube, and slowly, bit by bit, this quilt's coming together. So this month, now forgive me because I haven't had time to applique it all down. So the main square here I've yet to do, and I'm going to try and do some today. And I've done the lollies at the bottom. So I've done the lollipops and the ice cream, and I've done the 3 flowers down the side, but I haven't done the house and the umbrella. Or I think I've done the stalk on the parasol. So I need to also do the embroidery of ice cream on the sign of the shop. And a couple of others. I need to do the lines on the parasol and I need to do the cross in the window. So I've used my little pen to mark on what I need to do. And then I just need to, yeah, so this was a big block. It took me all day on Saturday to trace the shapes and get the shapes all cut and spray starched into shape and then under the clappers to sort of firm up. And then I pieced them on, you know, with the glue. And so now I'll be finishing off the applique there. That's a big block. So block 9, I think there are 12 blocks, so we're getting there. And I just love it. It's so much fun. And I just really enjoy the spray starch. I mean, you can see, if I come in a bit, I can show the points on the parasol. You know, it's just so fine and it's just perfect. And that's what spray starch can do for you. You can get real sharp points. And the shapes, I mean, the tiny little, oh, the smallest thing I had to do was this. The stick on the lollipop. I mean, it's so small, but you can turn it and make an oval shape. Look at the lollipop, you can make that. I mean, it's so clever as a method. You can turn out the weeniest little things. The stalks on the flowers are wafer thin and you don't need a bias tape maker. You can just curl 1/4 of an inch around a bit of paper with spray starch. It is a magical method. And actually it's really good fun, and it's so clean because you literally just spray some starch into a little jar and paint it on. And I just used my little craft iron. It couldn't be more easy, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's a bit different, isn't it? But the other thing I'm really loving is this, and I just managed, I spent all day yesterday doing the last 2 blocks. I did these 2, the first 2, which was so I'm on I did month 3, the fresh cut tree and the gingerbread house for the 3rd month. Okay, so they're 4 blocks a month, and these were for March. I did the tree and it came out perfect. I really enjoyed making it, such a lot of fun. Lovely fabric. So this is Laurie Holt's Vintage Christmas. I'll leave a link in the description box below to this. So this is the book I bought from Fat Quarter Shop years ago, but I was struggling to get all the fabric line. And then this year, Laurie released her hometown vintage Christmas blocks. So Hometown Holiday, it's called, and that's the new fabric colorway that we're doing the quilt along with Kimberly at the Fat Quarter Shop. So Kimberly chooses the fabrics each month for the next 4 blocks, and you take a photograph of what she's done so that you translate these into the new fabric line that Laurie's released. So if you want to do this quilt along, you can buy the kit at Fat Quarter Shop, and I put the link in my description box below. So this was the first one, the Christmas tree block, 6.5 inches, perfect. This was the second one, serious cutting and quilting for this piecing. Tiny little blocks everywhere, but so much fun. I've got to put the smoke on the chimney now with the embroidery, and such a pretty block. Really enjoyed making it, so much fun. It's always a thread every time. And yeah, see the window with the little holly leaf in it, so you can sort of fussy cut some of the pieces, really cute. And then yesterday I did the last 2 blocks. Now Kimberly says it takes her 45 minutes for is it a block? I think she said a block, and it takes me 4.5 hours. And they're not perfect because I was rushing to get ready for the Flosstube, but the 9 patch in the middle is perfect. But some of the points, if I hadn't been in a hurry, I would have done them again. I would have taken them and done them again. My flying geese were good. They measured perfectly, but then some of the corners are not like quite on it, you know, here and there. I could just see. So it's pretty good, and it measures 6.5 inches precisely. So it's going to go in the quilt beautifully, and it looks nice there. And one's called Glimmer and one is called Glisten. So I think that's Glimmer. And this is the other one. They're so pretty. They do look so, when you stand back, I mean, I've been so close up to these. So they're tiny little pieces, and 1.5 inch squares, mainly these, to make the 6 inch block when it's in the quilt. But I love the fabric. The kit is just so pretty. The fabrics are stunning. And there's going to be so much left over, I know, for my stash, which is really lovely when it comes to making up things like Teresa Cogut's basket, you know, that it's lined with one of these sort of pink Laurie fabrics. So, oh, it's such a lot of fun. I really enjoy making this. I love piecing, and I love the applique. So And already I know the fabrics for next month, so maybe it's going to be raining, I think, for a couple of days, and that's the perfect day to get inside and do some quilting, because when the sun's out, I don't want to quilt. I want to take Lily out the garden and do that. Then, in terms of plans for quilting, obviously I'm going to carry on with my monthly commitment for both of those things, but I also managed to get this, and Rika very, very kindly shipped it to me. I got this from the US. It's Shabby Fabrics, and I saw that they were doing the Blackbird Midnight Silhouette, so I couldn't resist. And apparently a lot of the pieces for the applique blocks have been like laser cut, so they just pop out. And I don't know the method I'll use, whether I'll spray starch instead of needle turn. If there's enough fabric to do that, I would do that. So Shabby Fabrics send their own really lovely little instruction chart, and there's a link, there's a QR code inside so that I can go to their free tutorial, but it looks really comprehensive on how to make the flying geese for the star blocks, and then the big moon, and then how to do the applique blocks down the side, and tells you what order. But also they give you the Blackbird pattern, and so you've got the complete backup inside of all the shapes. That's how big the cat's going to be, and how Bob, I think, shows you how the order in which to put together. So it'll be interesting. You've got a complete guide by Blackbird, and the also guide by Shabby Fabrics, so you can read them both over before you have a go. And all the fabrics, they're not Blackbird fabrics. I'm pretty sure they're not, because the black is just a plain black, but it's all labelled up beautifully, and so that'll be fun for something to start in sort of October time. And sorry for the crinkling. So that's that. That was a purchase I made. Apart from that, I've got no haul. I've ordered a few things, which I'll share with you next time, but I didn't buy anything, only threads for my Plum Street things I kitted up. So that was my haul. Then I'm going to show you some Stitchy kindness I got. So my dear friend, Rika, who sends me the most gorgeous little card, she's so sweet and kind to me. Honestly, I can't believe it. She sent me this amazing project bag, and I've already made the little the zip pull for the project, because Rika, you know, has a club, House of Stitch and Stash, and she makes these stunning bags and project portfolios. I mean, everything in her shop is sold out, so have a look and look out for her updates. You need to get on there quick if you want. It's just, everything's exquisite. Even her label look is beautiful, and she's got such good taste. When we were at the attic together in January, I found this chart and I fell in love with it. And of course, everything Rika does, I want to do, and everything I do, she wants to stitch. So she said, I want to buy that as well. So she did. So we bought Mary Ann Farmer, 1834 by the Scarlet House. It is beautiful. There's a sample of this on the wall at Country Sampler, and this chart calls for 40 count de Bloom by Picture This Plus, which is very yellow, and the sample on the wall at Country Sampler is, I think it's in a Lakeside fabric. It's a little bit warmer than that, and de Bloom certainly is quite yellow, isn't it? As you would know, you can easily see how yellow Picture This Plus de Bloom is. And it's sort of not looking quite as yellow in this photograph. So we are discussing what linen we're going to use. We're not going to use de Bloom because it's too yellow, but we might use Cedar River Overcast, which is, I haven't got it by me, but it's a beautiful neutral sort of greyish yellow, a totally nude colour. It's beautiful. We might use that. And we also, I couldn't believe Rika did this because I was going to use the DMC. She got the thread legend from the attic for the 103s, and she sent me this. Can you believe that? She sent me this in the project bag. I put a photograph in at the end so you can actually see how this looks. I'm not sure if I put the linen in, but it's going to be absolutely stunning. What a beautiful stitch. So if you'd like to join in with us, no idea when we're going to start it, but this is calling to me for another big girl start. Actually, it's not too big. It's not. It's 259. It's quite big. By 193. Yeah, okay. It is a big sampler. But it's well spaced out, isn't it? The motifs are quite spread out. And it's so pretty. The photograph of the real one at Country Sampler is so gorgeous. So, yeah, so that's something. And that was my first happy mail. The bag and the silks blew me away. And then, of course, Rika does send me the Brendas. Now, a daily reminder I've already started. With Thy Needle and Thread, the spring charts. Hop into spring. I don't have Pyrite by Cedar River, so I need to try and get some of that to see what it looks like. This one, the Earth Loves, is on Dusty Road by Seraphim, which I do have, so I could start that. Love these. I've never started one of these, and I think this is the third of these Quaker styles. I think there certainly is a summer one and a autumn one. The Spring Trio, beautiful. That's on Winter Brew, which I do have. And then Spindrift, which I don't have. So I might have to treat myself at some point to another order. Because, of course, Cedar River was in stock at the attic in January, which is how I got the Overcast and the Arboreal. So, yeah. So that was my first bit of happy mail. And it does make me happy. Look at that. Isn't it just beautiful? So thank you, Rika. You're so sweet. And then I had this beautiful package yesterday with my Easter card from my lovely dear friend Moira, who lives up in Northumberland. And she said, Sian, I've been making bunnies from vintage cloths and sending this one your way. And look at this. So the vintage cloths that you see, which are embroidered, and she's cut it, trimmed it, and made it into an Easter bunny and backed it. Look at the backing fabric. Oh, it's just so gorgeous. So this is now in pride of place at the top of my tier tray with my Easter smalls and spring finishes. So how kind. And she sent little flags to go in the top of your fairy cakes, which Topsy's making. And a little Malteser bunny rabbit. So thank you, Moira, so kind. And it was so lovely to talk to you the other night. And I really hope one day we will meet face to face at a retreat. That would be so lovely, wouldn't it? So that was from Moira. And then the only other thing I've got to show you is my monthly fabric that arrived from Wiggly, which is West Green Loft Yarn up in Scotland. And that was this beautiful neutral in a sort of biscuity brown. Now, I saved these in the same box so that I can show you what we've had so far, because I always like to see. So this is for May, and this one is called Barton Cottage. Now, Barton Cottage is the house, isn't it, on Sense and Sensibility? And a lot of Wiggly's wools, because her wools are beautiful, are named after like Eleanor Dashwood or, you know, Jane Austen themed names. So that was for May, and I can show you, it's very, very similar to the neutral we had in January, which was a biscuit. This didn't have a name, which means it won't be for sale in the shop. It was like a one-off colour. Then in February we had the, that didn't have a name either, that beautiful grey blue, which I wanted to keep for Tomato Dame. I think I showed you at the time would work really, really well for that. So that was an idea. Then The Cassandra was March, which is this beautiful yellow, which again would be a great idea for doing the Hoppy Easter by Brenda Gervais. You could do it on that. And then this beautiful pink, a dusky rose pink called Eleanor. And then this one, Barton Cottage for May. So we've got that nice and early. What a gorgeous array of colours by Vicky at West Green Loft Yarn. And I'm not sponsored, I buy all these myself, you know, but I do recommend them because I think they're beautiful. And it's like the Stitchery. I don't get paid or anything by the Stitchery. I just genuinely don't want to miss out on anything that they have because everything Nikki does is exquisite. So that's my haul and my Fabric of the Month Club. And then I'm going to do the giveaway winner. So last time, remember, you used the word wool, and thank you so much to all my subscribers that keep coming back. All the fabulous comments you send that are so encouraging. And for my new subscribers, I think we've got 200 new subscribers this month. So welcome. And thank you for all playing along and putting the words in and dropping a comment. This has to be one of my all-time favourite finishes. Have Ye Any Wool by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. And just love this stitch. And the winner for this, I'll put a picture in at the end, was Pam S. 8753. So Pam, please drop me an email at periwinklestitcher@gmail.com and I will post this out to you. And I did manage also this month to finish the beaded needle book for Isabel Duff, who contacted me and lives in New Zealand and is heading into autumn there, and sent me this amazing message about what she's stitching, and she's been stitching for years. So I couldn't be more delighted that someone who would appreciate a handmade needlebook with all the beads by hand. I finished it for her and she chose the gold and the kind of bronzy bead colourway. So I made that and shipped it out to New Zealand, and I hope it gets to her in time for Easter because I popped an Easter card in there for her. So that was Have Ye Any Wool. And then this month, I couldn't be more excited to share this with you. We've got a wonderful giveaway. Nicola Parkman, who, as you know, is a Welsh girl. And I've met Nicola a few times at the retreats and travelling. We flew back together from Sampler Symposium this year from the attic. And she gave the most wonderful lecture on Norfolk samplers. And of course, it's my 1 year anniversary in May. But also every May, Hands Across the Sea release their fabulous Queen of the May. And Nicola so generously sent me a chart and also sent me one to share for my first year anniversary on Flosstube, which will be next month. So next month I'll draw the winner and I will ship this to you wherever you are. And she... yeah, is beautiful. It's Elizabeth Stevenson. She's from 1854 and she is the new 2025 Queen of the May. So she's absolutely hot off the press. And look at the colours. Look at the 3 swans at the bottom. I'm immediately drawn to start this. I don't have a project which is so much pink like this. And I'm seriously thinking about treating myself to the silks. I don't know where to go for the 103 silks other than the attic. So I might contact the attic. Or I might see if I can just order them here in the UK. But I need to find a piece of linen because this was on Tabby Cat, just the ticket, which I don't have. So I might contact Michelle. I might treat myself. Isn't it beautiful? So she is a big girl. This is, on 40 count, it would be 16 by just over 16 and a half without margins. So that's the design area. So quite big, yeah. Does it say the stitches? There are 22 different colours of silks. So you can either do this in DMC or you could treat yourself to the the silks, but what a stunner of a chart. So yeah, she's English, I think, Elizabeth Stevenson. It sounds a very English name, but I don't think there's history that Nicola could find on her. So there we are. Next month I'll draw the winner for this beautiful Queen of the May 2025. And you can also order the panels to, if you order this chart before the 31st of May, you get this panel free to make your pin pillow. Remember, I've got Mary Carr, stitched by my lovely friend when I went out to Needlework Press. You can make a pin cushion for that, and also put the panel in the project bag. And this green matches the colour of the silks used on the chart. So you've automatically got your kind of border around the edge to make it easier to make a project bag for yourself. So that's that. The only other thing I've got to share with you is some of my previous finishes for spring that I've got up around the house. Here's one. Okay, what have we got here? We've got Spring Basket by Brenda Gervais. This is on 40 count summer khaki. Yes, summer khaki, 40 count. It was the first stitch I ever did on 40 count with some spring green. Can't remember the name of that fabric line. The other one I've got, I'm never sure if this is Easter, but I think it might be because it's a rabbit in a basket. But I do have this up in the summer as well because of the roses. This is the Rabbit and the Rose with the whisper thread fluffy tail, all the called for. It's on Seraphim, 36 count, time, something time. Away with the time. Something time anyway. Seraphim fabric, gorgeous, quite grungy and browny green. And this was backed with a gorgeous French general, and I was going through my Katie Strachan triple bead finish phase, so everything in that quarter was triple beaded down. I still love it. What a cracking finish. Really quick, really cheap, really easy. You just need your Mill Hill tiny little seed beads. That's that one. One of the first finishes I ever made, one of my favourite charts I've ever had, Tulip Festival by Brenda Gervais, with the hair, with the puff sleeves and the hips don't lie. Look at the basket with the tulips and the bees. 36 count Weeks Dye Works beige. Lady Dot creates vintage mini pom-pom trim, which is one of my favourite trims ever, with a gorgeous tiny little pink fern backing fabric. One of my all-time finishes ever. Again, Lady Dot creates rainy, cloudy, stormy, beautiful duck egg blue grey with a stunning mini pins on backing fabric. I love the backing fabric so much I could turn them the other way and just leave them like that in the bowl. And I often think I should do a spare small pillow to just leave like that as a little filler. Just love that duck egg blue colour. This is Springtime Messenger, an absolute classic by Brenda, finished with vintage buttons. 28 count, Weeks straw gingham check with Mountain Mist, 2 threads over 2. It's the only finish I've got 2 over 2. I don't like doing 2 over 2, but I do love the linen and I was determined not to waste it. It could be cocoa, it could be straw. I don't know what the gingham is, but you've got to have one gingham, haven't you, in your finishes? And I just think it just is, it's unique because of that fabric and I just love it so much. Classic Brenda. Love it. I think that could just stay up all year. Springtime Messenger. And then this one I made last year, remember, in a panic, going down to the cowslip retreat to have it finished to show Stacey because it was hot off the press last March. And this is Tulip Fields. Yeah, Tulip Fields with a mattress finish, which I love doing these. Look, with a little rabbit and a bee on that side. I just love the sides so much. And the duck egg blue birds eggs in a nest. This is 36 count, weeks beige. Love that linen so much. It is interfaced because it was quite a floppy one. I'm not even sure if it was a Zweigart base, so I did interface, but only just short of the stitches, so you can iron the seam over, and then it joins up really easily with the red pear, and a linen bottom, and it's filled with walnut shells, so it's really solid and sits in there nicely. That's one. Another little tray I've got here on my cake stand is on my little bird's nest, which I bought on Etsy with real feathers and little berries, and my chocolate eggs have cracked in the heat. I need to replace them. I did see a little thing of chocolate eggs in Tetbury, £20. I thought, no, you're not having them. And I'm not fussed on salted caramel, so I didn't get them. I just thought that's crazy, isn't it? When Cadbury's cream eggs are like £1 for 6 or whatever. So this one, Brenda Gervais, Seasons of the Heart, Spring, I've done them all. This is a Tilda, isn't it? Tilda Tulip. Love that fabric. Got a few colours of that. And just finished with a really simple little ribbon, old ribbon. And I always do what Brenda says. She said to use the crochet cotton, so I did, or the DMC pearly cotton, and just cut out the tag from the chart and glued it on a bit of cardboard, I think. I've done that with them all. I think they look really different and very effective. And this is Harrietta & Co. Did this 2 or 3 years ago. She's just so cute. And this is 36 count R&R Winter's Brew, all the called for, with a lovely shepherd's bush left over from my Easter trifles, a polka dot trim. And so she sits here, and one other Stacey Nash spring basket. Did this a couple of years ago. Really beautiful stitch with my favourite Sandy Gervais mini rose on the back, and it had those special stitches. All of these were little Smyrna crosses all the way across the top. Really enjoyed that. And because of the detailed borders, I didn't put a trim on this, but I think you could do the beaded trim finish. Yeah, can you see the little holes there? Really enjoy doing that. I think they're called Smyrna crosses, aren't they? Where you pull them so tight they make a little hole in the linen. And this is on 40 count Fox and Rabbit ballet slipper, which is a beautiful pale sort of creamy yellow. So that's that. And the only other finish that's up, which I haven't shown you before, is Indigo Lane with Thy Needle and Thread. And this is on 36 count summer khaki. It's the called for, and I'd love to do the needle drum that goes with it. I'm not 100% on the frame, but at the time I thought that white fence was sort of calling for a white frame. I'm not sure, but it's fun, and for me it just comes out for spring, and just love that chart and really want to do the needlebook. So in terms of plans, I didn't say what word, did I, for the Queen of the May giveaway. Please use the word May. Tell me what you're stitching in May, what your plans are. My plans for May are the very first bank holiday weekend. I cannot wait. We're going down to Cowslip Studio. Remember I went last year and Stacey gave us that amazing kit of the gorgeous needlebook. Let me show you. So hopefully hope you didn't see the junk in my cupboard then. Hopefully, you know, I mean, this is what we're in for. We're going to have a treat like this when we get down there. Have you ever seen anything more beautiful than that? Hopefully this will be released very shortly for you. And it even had this cross-stitched line, and she gave us all the finishing fabric. We learnt how to line something, and it just went together like a dream. She gave us the ribbon, which is how I learnt to buy these seam ribbons and couch them down, because Stacey does it all by hand and tells you how to do it. But look at that. I mean, it's just so pretty, the colours. So we're going to be in for a treat, whatever it is. And I just can't wait. Yeah, can't wait to go. So when I go, I will be taking, obviously I'll take my needle book. I mustn't forget that. Actually, I'll leave that out. And so many people have asked me, and every time I forget, to show you my Stitchy box. And the reason is I put off showing because my friend Sharon Christ Silver covered the top with a beautiful piece of cross stitch, and she finished it on a card to fit just exactly the top of the box, and it's slightly padded and it looks beautiful. And mine looks really ugly and boring in navy blue. So what I do is I cheat. When I go on a retreat, I just leave it open and then no one can see the top. But I do mean one day I would love to cover the top. So I will be taking this, and what I do is stand Clovis. I stand Clovis up, and I stand Maggie May up in there. Well, this time I'll be able to take my pear as well, pop my pear in. So I will be taking my pear to show off to Stacey and her mum. Her mum, wow, her mum is so glamorous. She looks so young. So I'm standing them up in my box, and look at that. So I don't know how Lily's going to fit in there, because she's on 36 count. I don't know if I said that. I'm following the called for, but aren't they precious? But let me show you what I've got in my box, because these are treasures that are very, I know we've run out of time and I'm going over, but let me just quickly tell you what I've got in my box. I've got everything that's really precious to me. I have my little Kohana silk pincushion and the little Kohana little thread to keep there, and the pins out of that Kohana scissor pincushion I keep in my worry doll from Homespun with Love, Sue Phillips. She's got a folksy shop. If you Google her, she's on Instagram. She's a prolific poster. She makes vintage things. I'll show you. And I keep my Stacey Nash little waxer around him. So I've got a few of these. This is one of them. She does beautiful fabrics. And the first one of these I ever had was in my advent calendar from the Stitchery. If you can get that advent calendar, this is the sort of unique thing that you might get, you know, not every year. It was only one year that we had him, but that little bear, he's filled with chickpeas and he's like a worry bear. You can sort of play, you know, he's like a stress thing. I've got my really precious, I Need All the Animal Crackers little border ruler from Stacey Nash. Homespun with Love, Sue Phillips, and a thimble, a vintage thimble that she's stuffed a tiny little piece of fabric on the top. That lives in there. My Kohana magnets lives in here. Nancy 5 Times Blessed, vintage buttons on a really rusty pin, lives in here. My Kohana snips are in there. Oh, this stunning little vintage lace and a silk ribbon peg lady. She's an old wooden peg. She lives in here. This I bought from, oh, who's the lady that used to teach at the attic? And Mary Cox. Mary Cox. This was on the table when I bought the things from Mary Cox, and this was an old, so it's from the attic, on the shaker box table and the Mary Cox table, and it's an old Prudential insurance advert, and it's finished with a little pin. You know, I don't know what it is, but it's just precious to me because I bought it with Jean in 2023. This, oh golly, this is precious. This was my mother's. Now you know how much I miss my mum. This was in her needle case. It's a souvenir of Porthcawl. I mean, honestly, Porthcawl is a little grotty seaside town down the bay here in Wales. It always rains. You can't park there anymore. But when I was little, you know, we used to go there and have ice creams on the front. And my mum used to have a little needle case. So I just put some Kohanas. It just used to keep her old pins. And, you know, she used to make my summer dresses when I was small. We would always get pins in the bottom and have to mind our legs getting. So that just is my mum in this needle case. Another precious thing from Nancy, my mini jar of old buttons from 5 Times Blessed. Oh, so that's the bottom. It's all lined with French General fabric. You can't see now because it's all hidden, but it's one of those classic stripe ones that, can you see? The greens and the pinks. I've got my Kohana scissors up here that I've had for a long time, my pink ones that I take to a retreat. I've got a precious little notebook called Primitive Quilts and Projects with a cute old quilt on the front that I can take notes in an emergency. I've got some thread. I don't use them for my DMC, you know, the thread cards. So I just keep them in there because they're cute. My spare pack of Bowen 28s. Oh, this pin, one day at the Stitchery, I was on a workshop. Nikki saw my needle case and travel case, sewing case, and said, oh heavens, I'm going to have to make one of those. And would you like one of the pins that I'm going to put in mine? So that's from Nikki, one of the pins. Isn't that cute? So I always remember now. This I bought from, okay, this, I can't get it off because it's stuck on with a magnet now, but can you see the tiny, beautiful little pink cameo? That's from Kim, the Contented Needleworker, that gave that to me when I went to the Autumn of Abundance retreat at the attic with Alma and Paulette from Plum Street and Alma from Blackbird. This is from Sue at Minnie McBean's shop at the Great British Sampler Weekend. This ribbon across the top is from the Great British Sampler Weekend. Great British Stitcher. I just glued that on, and a bit of old crochet ribbon there. And my mini Kohana snips live up there. Oh gosh, this is from Minnie McBean's. It's a frog. It's a frog pin. Can you see? So cute, isn't it? It's just a reminder never to get too ahead of ourselves because we all need to frog occasionally. This was in my advent calendar from the Stitchery one winter, a pack of 3 of these, and one of them, they're made of that gorgeous mother of pearl. They're thread winders, and I've also got the blackbirds, 3 blackbirds. Well, they're white birds, aren't they? But you know what I mean. And so that lives in there. I've got 2 Puntini cotton reel pins. I've got my Stacey Nash waxer. I've got my absolutely gorgeous quarterly stitch, or one of the stitch boxes from Barry with Mildred. She's on a magnet, so she's in there. And I think, no, one more thing. Oh, my Kohana amazing needles that I do all my applique with. They're practically impossible to thread because the eye's so small, but it means that you can knot your thread around the needle, and it will actually go through the cotton with the knot at the needle, and it never unthreads. So you can just keep going with a huge, great long length for your applique, and it never comes undone. Great trick I learnt from one of the applique queens. I've told you before who I learnt the spray starch method from. And this absolute treasure. At the Great British Sampler Weekend, Jane Greenough had an amazing stall. She gave an amazing talk. I've got a fabulous red sampler that I bought on her stall that I'd love to start one day. But I also bought this, My Rosebud ruler. It's made from a piano key. Isn't that precious? And it's just got 3 inches on there, measured out on an old piano key. I mean, very precious treasures in here. So that's what I like to put in my stitching travel case. They've got to be very precious things to find their way into there. And then obviously I close it to travel. It will shut just. And then I take Clovis and Maggie May to stand up in there, and also Bobbin. But I don't really take Bobbin with me, the little mouse, because he sits on a spool. So there's my travel case. I'm so sorry I'm at 2 hours, but I had promised quite a few people I would share my Stitchy travel case, and it reminded me, thinking about going to Cowslip on the bank holiday, that I'm going to be taking that with me, and it'll be sitting on my desk. And some of the other girls' treasures that they take down. It's just so much fun to go around. And it's only a small retreat, because Cowslip's, the workshop's really small, the shop's tiny, and so there's literally 3 tables of sort of 8 people, no more than that. So I'm really looking forward to catching up with all my friends from the Cowslip studio that I met last year, all the lovely ladies that are going on this retreat, and I will report back to you in May. Please use the word May for a chance for you to have your copy of The Queen of May. And I will come back and see you in a month's time. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and happy stitching.